G'day, gorgeous people. My name's Alexandra Wenman, and I just want to share with you a little bit about my journey that I think might resonate with a few of you. For a very, very long time, probably ever since my teenage years, I have been a very frightened girl. And I'm sharing this with you today because that fear, which I will talk to you about in a minute, no longer sits within me. And it feels so incredibly free to be free of that particular brand of fear that was actually sitting within my consciousness. It was sitting within kind of every part of me, um, and I don't think any fear is rational. Really, since I've come through this kind of process, I actually feel that it's my belief that we actually create our own fears, and so many of us are holding so many irrational fears that if you could only share them with somebody close to you, or talk to them about quite how deep some of your fears are and what they are, the person would probably laugh and just be, don't be silly. My particular example of fear was I had such a deep-seated fear of what people thought of me, and of people's opinions of me, and of how I was presenting myself in the world, that it actually ended up being crippling. And some of you know my story who have seen my video blogs before. I've spoken before about being bullied throughout my life. And, this is a process that, I realized went, right up until a couple of years ago and all the way back through my childhood. And I feel that on some level I was actually manifesting this bullying because of this deep-seated fear that almost sat in the very cells of my body. It was like a resting, like a resting energy. So that even in those quiet moments when I was alone and trying to relax, maybe reading a book, or, even later on as I started to get into meditation, this fear would creep to the surface, and I couldn't run from it, and I couldn't hide from it, and I couldn't put it away, and it was always, always there. Now, I've, over the last few years, and many of you will have been through a similar process since about 2012, maybe even 2011, I feel that on a global scale, we've been going through a mass shedding process. And a lot of the old patterns and programs and negative belief systems, negative thoughts and ideas, anything that's been limiting us is actually being broken down. And this is happening on a global scale. You can see it in the news. You can see it with the amount of people that no longer trust the decisions that the governments are making. People are starting to wake up and question what's going on this planet. And it's not enough to just bury our heads in the sand. All the Jimmy Savile stuff coming to the surface. It's like light is being shed on these dark corners of our whole society, and at the same time light's being shed on the places within us that we don't want to go to, we don't want to connect with, we're afraid of, or we don't want to look at, we don't want to know. For example, why I didn't want to know why I was so afraid of what people thought of me until I couldn't run from it anymore, until I got to a point where I was cyberbullied. I had friends turn on me, and it all happened at once. And I had to look within, I had to look at those places. Why had I manifested this? And most of it, had manifested through such deep negative self talk. I mean, no one could ever have been as mean to me as I was to me. My thoughts about myself were horrible. I mean, and this, a lot of the stuff, as I started to explore it, goes back to childhood. It's part of the reason why I went into holistic therapy and healing modalities, and it's part of the reason why I work as a healer and a therapist today, because I've managed to overcome this fear. And it's still something, yes, it rears its ugly head all the time. It rears its ugly head every time I sit down to make one of these video blogs. But now I use it as a source of power. Now, when this fear rears its ugly head, I go, do you know what, fear? Up yours. I ain't listening. You can just stay there, because you're not going to hold me back anymore. And what started to happen is my creative process has really switched on. I've been writing poetry again, which is something I used to do as a child and well into my 20s. And then as I went out into the working world and became a journalist and did all that stuff and started to live a normal life and had to fit into all the different boxes and parameters that society put on me, and as well as, the long working hours, no time for self, no time for relaxation, no time to do the very thing that makes my heart sing and sit down and just let the creative process flow. So one of the little exercises I'd like to bring to you today, and I'd like to invite you to go to those places in yourself where you're holding fear. What is it that's holding you back? What are you most afraid of? And I just want you to, if you've got a pen and paper, or you can do this process when you get a moment, what is it I most fear? And then look at the negative self-talk. What do you say to yourself? What are the things, second question, what are the things that you're so afraid of people finding out about you? One of my biggest things, obviously, over the last few years was, oh my God, people are going to know I'm spiritual. Well, most of them kind of did anyway. And, I think I'm pretty fully out of the spiritual closet now. And you know what? Far from, turning on me and running from me, most of the people around me have been 100% supportive. And when I've put out a video or a message on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever I'm using to sort of talk about my journey and get my message across, I've actually had the most beautiful messages of support. And people have said to me, my God, that inspired me, that really resonated with me. What you said the other day helped me, and I did the process and it worked. And if I can help one person just by sharing my journey and sharing what brought me to this space, then that is so fulfilling for me. So I just invite you to do this exercise. So what is it? What is it you're most afraid of? What are you running from? What are you running from inside of yourself? And is it really that bad? Could it really be that bad? Who do you think you are? That's a good question. Maybe write that one down. What do you most fear? Number one. What are you most afraid of? Who are you? Who is the real you? Sit down and write this down. Who are you? This is a powerful question to sit down and think about who you are and go within. What is it about you that makes you unique? Third question. What makes your heart sing? What brings you to life? What gets your passions churning? What is it that as a child that used to really open you up and fill you with joy and still does today, or the memory of it maybe still does today? So 3 really powerful questions. And the fourth, what would you do if you didn't care what anyone thought of you? What would you do? What would you create? Who would you be? What would you allow yourself to do if you didn't have the fears of what society thought of you, the constraints put on you, if you didn't have to fit inside a certain idea of what a human being is meant to be, let alone what you are meant to be? And I really invite you to answer these questions just for yourself on a personal level and just see what comes up. And you can write reams if you want. You can write a sentence, or you can take out an A4 sheet and you can, keep writing into next week or next year. This is an ongoing process. The exploration of the self is a powerful, powerful tool, and it will unlock the hidden gems inside of you. I've realized that God, there's no one like me on this planet. And I am probably the weirdest person. If someone could go inside my head, I am probably the weirdest person. But you know what? I love being weird. I'm proud of being weird. Somebody during the bullying days nicknamed me, not in a nice way either, but nicknamed me Wacky Wenman. And you know what? I've actually taken that on. That's my new moniker, Wacky Wenman. I love it. Bring it on. The wackier the better. The more you can get out of the box, the better. The more you can just be authentically you, the better. And I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I will write my poetry. I will bare my soul. I will speak my truth. And I will be who I have to be, because if it touches one person, If it helps one person to help themselves, if it helps one person wake up, then that is a triumph in my eyes. I am not here to preach. I am merely here to share. And if it resonates with you, then please, please explore you and who you really are. Because you are a treasure in this world. You are magnificent. There is nobody else like you on this planet. So come out of your shell. Awaken your gifts. Bring forward your truth. Open your heart and your mind and be who you are, please, because the world needs you. We need more people like you. And you're not just here to sit in a box and close your eyes and not love every part of you. We're not here to be miserable. We're here to blossom and grow and share. We're here to enjoy the beauty of everything this world has to offer. And when you start to open your eyes to that, you will see beauty everywhere. So I wish to celebrate you and celebrate every single person on this planet. And I know I'm gushing now, but I love you all. And I really wish you the most magnificent, beautiful day. And I hope to see you all soon. Lots of love. So much love. Bye.